without installing React library on your system, you can develop React application. So it is very good, because if you are able to develop your React application without setting up configuration for the React and React development configuration and other thing, so that is a good thing. Then the question is, how can we do it? So just we have to use the React CDN. Okay, so we go to the browser and see how we can do it. I have opened the browser. Okay, now just you have to type here React CDN. You have to type React CDN. Here is a React CDN or React unpack. You can also use this one. So I zoom it slightly, so that will be good for you. So you go and click here React. You are looking here the unpack. Otherwise you can use CDN link, not that one. Okay, now you see here CDN link is given. This is the old what it is telling. This is the old document. Go for the latest. No, we will start working with the 18th. Okay, so I do one thing. I will use this CDN and I start developing the React application. So first of all, I create a folder on my desktop and I name it React Demo App. Okay, I will open this folder inside the Visual Studio Code. You can right click and open with Visual Studio Code if you have installed the Visual Studio Code. Otherwise, you can also use the command line and open like this code space and dot. This will open the Visual Studio Code. So there are 2 and 3 approaches to open the Visual Studio Code in your project directory. So your project directory is opened here. Look here. Now you have to create a HTML file. Because the basic idea of your HTML and CSS and JavaScript, they are just using these concepts of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. We can start working with React. Okay. So later on I will also set up the React project. I will install the React library on my system, and I will develop full-fledged project also. But in this right now I will start working with the CDN. And why I am doing like this, later on you will understand, because my approach of teaching, you can say, is slightly different from others. So if you have already watched some other videos on the YouTube, so my tutorial will be in a way slightly different. What will be my roadmap? I tell you how I will teach you. First of all, I will develop React application or demo React application using the CDN, and I will tell you how React is just JavaScript. React is just JavaScript. You understand what I'm telling. And then tomorrow, if you are going to use the library, then you will have better idea what I'm going to tell you. Because what happens in a lot of tutorials, what I find, they are using directly the JS. So in many tutorials, I have found that they start from the JSX. JSX and stand for JavaScript and XML. I will also discuss about that, and I will also use that one. But before that, what I am going to follow the approach, that is the best approach as per me. And if you follow my tutorial, then you will feel what I want to say. Okay. So first of all, I create the index.html file, and I put here the boilerplate code. Okay. Now we know already in a HTML file we can use the JavaScript code here. So I'll go to the CDN and I will put the link here, JavaScript. I close this one. go to the CDN and copy these two. Okay, these two, you just have to copy these two. I just zoom it. You have to copy these two from this link. You have to go to this leak.js and you have to copy this. So we copy it and go in your, and in the bottom of the document, a body tag you have to put here. And here I will explain everything, but just see here. I am going to use a ID here. Sorry, ID not root. The name will be root of the ID. You can put any other name, but that is in the convention. Accordingly, I just put here the root ID. ID name is given root. Now you have used what? You have used two libraries. First of all, understand what these CDN are providing. If you control and click, then you will reach to the library. Okay, your browser is open, and now see, you are getting here the React library. So what I told you, React is a library. So your library is just before you. You are looking, this is a React library. There is another library that is called ReactDOM. I will also explain the difference between React and ReactDOM library. So this is your another library. This is called ReactDOM library. And I am using the development library, not the production library. So you will, once you are learning, then you should use development library so that if there is any kind of error that you can debug. Okay. So if you go through this, then entirely what you will find, they are just JavaScript code. Okay. So that's why we say React is a JavaScript library. Okay. So I close this ReactDOM library. This is another React library. I close both of them. Okay. Now you got the idea. We are using the library from the CDN without installing at our system. So now I have created a DOM, div element here. And what I'm going to do, I am using the React DOM. There is a, this is already available. I am taking from the React DOM and using, this is using 18th. So we can use create root, and here we are going to create a root based on this ID. Means I will take it as a ID. So what will be the so we know that document, sorry, actually, sorry, I have to write it in it. Now we have included two scripts, means two libraries. One is the React library, another is the ReactDOM library. Now we will use the script tag just below it. Okay. And in this script, we will use the objects of this two library. So one of them is ReactDOM, okay, dot render, and here you will write document dot get element by ID, and we are taking the ID, the name is root. Okay. So what we are going to here, we are at this location. At this location, we are picking the location. So this location is picked in this method, render method. So what will be rendered? That will be the second parameter. What will be rendered? Suppose I render hello world. Okay, got it? I save it. Now I repeat again. ReactDOM is a, you can say, object available in the ReactDOM. we are using the render method. We are going to render at this location. We are just picking the document.getElement by ID root, means we are looking at this location, div location, and in this div we are going to print hello world. So to print hello world, we are just using this one. So just save it and open the browser. So my live server is starting up, and we go and see. If there is issue, go and check. Press F12. So what it is, ReactDOM render is no longer supported in React 18. So it is telling to use create React. Okay. So here is another error. Target container is not a DOM element. Means we have to use a DOM element here. What we have to use here? DOM element. So actually I have written in opposite direction. So what this is telling, I suppose this one is the correct one. We have to, what we have to render and where we have to render. This is the correct approach. So now see what happens. So we see that we have rendered hello world. How this one was rendered? How this one was rendered? There are two arguments. Now the question is how I was able to render it in the browser. I have used this ReactDOM.render method. It is taking two parameters. The first parameter, what we want to render and where we want to render. So what we want to render is just the string hello world, and where we want to display at this root location, means div location. If you want to render it as a HTML, suppose I want to render it as a HTML, let us try whether it is, just for the understanding I am telling. Is it possible to render like this? Check it. It is not rendering. Why it is not rendering? Now I explain. Actually the rule is it will take a string value, okay, and we have to put here here we have to put a React element. What we have to put? A React element. What we have to put? A React element. It will take a React element. So I will first of all create a React element. R element. And how we will create the React element? To create the React element, I have to use React library. This library React development.js. It contains a React and it has create element method. And what the thing we have to look here, the syntax. Anyway, you don't look here, I just explain it. What we have to do, suppose I want to create h1 element, then first and h1 second element is attribute of the h1 tag, and third is what we want to print, hello world. Getting my idea? So two steps I am going to follow. Earlier this was not required if you are just going to print the string value, but if you want to print like this, what I want to say, h1 and then hello react or hello world if you want to print, then it is not possible to write like this because this first argument is converted into a string. Okay, so the rule is if you want to create a HTML element, then first of all you have to use the react.createElement and the HTML element tag here you have to write h1, h2, whatever. Then the second element, the second parameter is about the attribute of this h1. Suppose here you want to put some attribute like class equal to something. Okay, so here you will put the second argument. I will also explain about that one, but I am right now not using the second argument for the attribute of the h1. And third is here inside the h1, what we want to print. Suppose inside the h1 we want to print hello world, so that you have to write as the third argument. What my point? So there are three arguments. One is the HTML element, the second is the attribute of the HTML element, and third is the value or the text that you want to put. So go and check again. Now this time we are getting hello world. I just 100% I do it, but mind it is now HTML element. Suppose you want to color it, then here what you will do, instead of null you will put an object. In CSS we use the object. Suppose color has the value red. Okay, got my point? So what it will do, the React will create an element h1 and will pass the style attribute. So here you have to write 2 times, you will have to write, because style, and style will take a this one. So it might be confusing in the beginning, but mind it, we pass second parameter as an object, and inside this object we are passing a style. So you can pass a style like this, a style and its value. Go and check. It is hello world again. I zoom it slightly. Now suppose you want to pass extra. So it is an object. So object has key value pair. So this is the key and this is the value. Now suppose you want to pass background color. So background, okay, color you will write like this, because in JavaScript we write like this, yellow. Okay, now what will happen, the JavaScript will render yellow background. Go and check, it is yellow background. So what you learned in this first video, so what you learned in this, you learned that instead of directly rendering the HTML elements, we take the help of React create element, and by the help of React create element we create an element, HTML element, and we can also style it inline, and then and thereafter we can render it using the ReactDOM. So there are two main parts. One is the React, another is ReactDOM. React is used to create the React element. So it is just creating the view. If I use the notepad to explain it. So React is used to create view. Find it. What it is used to? It is used to create view or HTML element, and create HTML element and view. And ReactDOM, this is used to render the elements, or we can say render view. So it is also said that ReactJS is view part. If you use the model view controller, so React.js is your view part in this model view controller approach. We know about the model view controller. I will explain in detail in later videos, but right now just you have to keep in mind React is one library that is containing all the objects, all the methods, so that you can create HTML elements and view, and you can create view thereafter. First of all, you create elements and thereafter you create your view. And second part is ReactDOM. ReactDOM is used to just render the created elements or view. Render created view. So you understood what I want to say. Right now I have not installed the React, but just by using the CDN you are able to do what the UI task is required to be done by React. Hope this much is clear to you. Now you may have question how to render some more complex user interface. So I give another one example. Okay, so it will make more sense to you. So I do one thing in HTML. I first of all explain you. Suppose I want to print hello world, already I have done, and just below this I just want to print Delhi, New York, Paris, and something. Okay, so here I want to print some list of the cities or list of the country, anything maybe. List of the countries I do: India, Brazil, France, and Germany, and USA. Suppose I want to print hello world and just here the list of the 5 countries. Then how I will do it? We see it without using the JSX. That is JSX. I will explain about it later on. JavaScript and XML. This is the combination of 2 technologies, JavaScript and XML. So I will explain about it later on. First of all, we see how can create the list just using the create React element. So we do one thing. Here we have created one element HTML. So we create another element. To create the list, what we do? If you think in terms of HTML, then first of all we create UL, and inside this UL you have a number of elements like this: li, now suppose you want to create your HTML like this. Now suppose you want to create HTML element like this. Okay. Now to create this, now suppose you want to create this HTML. So here is a hierarchy of some HTML elements and you want to render them on the browser using the React, using the ReactDOM and React, 2 libraries already I told you. So first part will be creation of the elements. So for creation of the creating HTML element, what you will use? You will use React library, not ReactDOM. I am telling React. So we are going to create each elements one by one. So first of all, I create div element. But div is already created. Div is already created as the root element. So I escape this one. Now suppose you want to render all these elements on your browser. So what you will do? You will create each element one by one using the ReactDOM. There are two libraries already told you. So you will use these two libraries, React and React-dom, and you will create. First part will be creation and then will be the rendering. First part will be creation. So first of all, we will create each elements one by one. So div is already created. This is the root element. Already I told you id equal to root. So we will create other. H1 already we have created. We will create ul and li. So continue. So we do one thing. Here is the rendering forget. First of all, we create elements. So start const my list and create React So what you will write? Even you don't have to pass any attribute, then null. And third will be what? Go and check. Eval is containing some children. Eval is containing some children. So you will create li within here. So React job create element li. There is no attribute, so just null. And what is there after? India. So you will do what? India. Got my point? Likewise, you will so we have created in a sense as per this. Look here. Accordingly, just first of all we create this one, then we create this one, create this one, create this one. So think over it. So we have created, these are the children of this one element. Ul element has the 5 children. Okay, and now close it. Got it? So now you have the list and you have to render it. Where you have to render it? Just like here you rendered, so you can render it. So just for explanation, I am just escaping that one. Now go and check what happens. So all the items are listed here, but what happened to your hello world? If you also want to render hello world, then you will do like this. You will do like this. You will create, I call it message, hello world message. This is your first HTML element. This is your list element. Okay. And together you can use them. How you can use them? You can pass it inside another div element. You can pass it inside another div element, or simply like this. You can just like this. This is the new technology that I am going to do. You can render both together. This is your message. In old React, it was not allowed. And I will also tell you about the old techniques. So 2 things you are rendering at a time, message and list. Go and check. You are getting both. hello world as well as this. So, but in old means before 18th, if you go before 18th, React 18, I am using React 18. So if you go before this version, then this one technique is not allowed. This one technique is to use an array of elements to render is not allowed. You can render only one element as the top. So you can create another one React and put them in a, I just explain how can you create a container, and I will create a container React create element, and here will be the div. This is another div that I am going to create. It does not have any attribute and it will contain two elements. The first element will be your message and second element will be list. Getting my point? And finally we can put the container here. Now go and check. You are getting the same result, and if you doubt I am using the old one, then I change it UK. You see it will be reflected. If there is any issue, you check it in the browser. React is not defined. So what happened? We are creating the element and here we are creating the child elements. Okay, so otherwise this is acceptable, but you can also do like this. Right now I don't understand why React is not defined at 1923. I have already created this one. I just pass it here. Okay, and this is the list and I pass it here. Mind it what I am doing. And if it's still problem, actually that is not the issue. It seems there is some other kind of issue. I comment them. Go and check. Okay, it is now printed. Look here, UK is printed. There was some issue. I will have to check it. Otherwise, it should also work. So what I have done? Mind it, I have created this one element, and here as a child I am creating message. As a child I am creating, and then I am creating another element, React element, that is the evil element, and inside this there is another child. So what you are getting the feeling, although we are able to do all these things, but the code is going to be so much verbose, so much means it is hard to read. So Facebook did one thing. Facebook created the JSX technology, JavaScript and XML technology. So I will discuss about this later on, but let me check why it is not working. It should also work. If it is working, then it should also work. Let me check where is the issue. And here is the first element, message, and here is the second element, list. Perhaps I had written something spelling wrong. Okay, go and check again if you are getting again. Okay, we are getting the correct output. Let me check again. I put it here, USA again, South Africa, let me check. Yeah, so what I wanted to, I don't know what happened in between, maybe some rendering issue, but what I was telling was also correct. Okay, so you can create individual elements and then you can place like this, so it will work, there is no issue. Okay, but what we get the feel? We get the feel that this approach is very lengthy. If there is so much lengthy, means so much nesting in the HTML document, then you will have to nest it so much in your React document, and using the create React element again and again, your code will become very, very nested. So to get rid of this, Facebook company decided to use JavaScript and XML technology. So in the next video, I will explain about this one.